What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with a Death Scourge full gameplay video for you all. I always like to start off these events really running a vanilla run with no Scourges on these higher difficulty levels. It's going to give us some great perspective in terms of identifying where the pain points are going to be and giving you folks, some perspective in each of the nodes that we're up against. So I think it's going to be a good starting point to start off on difficulty 6, because this is where generally a lot of endgame players will likely be. As you can see, the expected run score is going to be about 670k, but the only exception is generally I don't add any Scourges, but with these ones now having those 3 that benefit minions specifically in those first 2 nodes, I do want to take advantage of that. So you can see here, Rise Anew, Super Soldier's Theorem, and as well as Undead Swarms. I'm taking full advantage of that. And then again, the expected run score is going to be about 670k. So it's going to get us the full immediate unlock of Archangel, which is exactly what we want to do. So with that said, let's get this party started, guys. I'm going to hit enter here. Haven't started this at all, so everything's going to be brand spanking new here for us. You can see the team levels are around 60 to 70k, so it's honestly not going to be an issue whatsoever. But again, this is going to be really more so for educational purposes, for you guys to see, which team combinations are going to work, and for us to really identify the pain points as we go forward. So as you can see, this is going to be my full minion team: 3 Ravagers and Merc Lieutenant and Riot Guard. Dorky Dad made a video already with the test server that this is a very powerful team, and like I said, I think the synergies of them working together is gonna really be eye-opening for us as we start things off here and get things going. So first and foremost, high resistance already, so resisting quite a few debuffs from the other side. But keep in mind, because we have those Scourges, there's going to be really good. It flips all the negatives that we have on the team. We want to focus on the tankier characters in the beginning. I think this blob is likely going to be an issue when we actually start things off with the higher difficulties. But because of the synergy that we have with this team, you're going to see that these Ravagers are going to have amazing value, just being able to work together, being able to, having Lieutenant granting positive buffs, granting energy, right? And that's going to be a really pivotal piece. And Ravager Stitcher having that notable damage, and he's going to be a difference maker for sure in the higher nodes. We got Lieutenant, granting energy with the offense up and speed up. That's really where a lot of the damage is going to come from. And I know specifically with the synergies too of the Ravagers, we're gonna get that tandem with having the mercenary folks just being able to soak up damage, tank up, and as you can see, that first wave was no issue whatsoever. This next one, again, every time you have Lieutenant, make sure you're granting all the buffs and so forth. We want to target characters like Magneto and Juggernaut, because once they get that blind in, thankfully, like I said, we have the higher resistance because of us being higher level than them. But again, this is not the most powerful minion team. They're all in gear tier level 14, level 75, so it's not even a big deal. But you can see how even in difficulty 6, we're absolutely just shredding. So I'm just going to switch it to auto, guys, because I don't think we need to even be able to target here. There's no need, right? And we also have the revives. We're flipping all the negative effects, so I don't think that the minions are going to be a pain point at all. I think the only time will be as we push higher and higher. It's going to be interesting to see which teams scale better. But, I've heard that AIM and as well as the Ravagers mixed with Mercenaries have been extremely effective in higher Scourge nodes as well. So these are definitely the top ones you want to build if you're hoping to push higher and higher in this Scourge. So as you can see, was fully able to auto that. So node 1, not an issue whatsoever. So I definitely felt like they lowered the scale on that for sure for the damage. So there was speculation in the data mines that was in effect, and you can definitely see that too, because our guys aren't that strong either. They're only about 80-90k. Like I said, total team power is 510. So again, a similar power level up against here. In this node 2, I think there's a lot more enemies here involved. So this is the one where as the higher difficulties come with the more Scourges being added, this is the one where I definitely see it being more problematic. And we want to take down any enemies that have that turn meter manipulation, right? So characters like Carnage, characters like Vulture, but then we also need to be wary of Hand Sentry too. So I'm going to start things off. I'm going to go ahead and get some defensive buffs there. But as you can see, at the moment Sentry actually goes ahead and uses his ability there to actually cast him in shrouds, that we're going to be playing a waiting game at that point. I would even just encourage, if you guys have other minions, just to throw it in so that Sentry does probably waste his move, and that way it's not going to be problematic for the main minion team that you use. So at this point, I'm going to switch to auto because, like I said, I don't think we're going to have an issue. It's more so just timing. But again, want to focus on the enemies like Carnage and Vulture because of them having that turn meter manipulation and them getting the advantage on us. More enemies definitely in this node, but again, if we target the right enemies and the right ones with damage, it's not going to be an issue whatsoever. So then afterwards, we're going to clean up that side. We're going to aim for Vulture. You can leave Swarm and Venom at the end. They're not going to be problematic, I don't think, even in the higher difficulties. And then at this point, it should just be leaving Venom and Swarm. And now this next wave, it is going to spawn this mixture of X-Force with some of the unlimited X-Men mixture there. So I think nothing too crazy here, but keep in mind, can't take down Deathpool without Domino. And what's really nice about having Ravager Stitcher on our team is that his basic attacks can actually kill someone without actually being able to give them the chance to revive. So it's almost like a Black Bolt ability, right? But you have to make sure you finish them off with the basic. So definitely see some value there, but you can see, wow, these guys are just not even scratching us. This synergy that we have, the amount of buffs that we're getting, and again, we're not seeing it too clear right now with these lower difficulties, but the Ravagers are able to also strip away positive buffs and copy them. So any enemy buffs they have, we're going to be able to take full advantage of that. So that's a nice added benefit for sure. Afterwards, that leaves Magic here with Negasonic, and they're not going to be a pain point whatsoever. In the higher difficulties, the damage might be more notable, but now we're left with this last wave here. Drax being able to taunt again because we can strip away the positive buffs. I would aim for the damage dealers like Rocket Raccoon, Moondragon, getting Negasonic out of the way. We can leave Mantis and Star-Lord. You know, they're not really high damage dealers anyway, so not an issue whatsoever. And you can just see we're just riding through this so smoothly just because of how prominent their synergies are, and they just have this tandem of 5 really just has an amazing synergy with each other. So first 2 nodes down, super easy, super straightforward. You can pretty much auto the whole thing in difficulty 6. Like I said, I wanted to do one without any Scourges here, but minus those 3 minion ones, just so that way you can see the true benefit. And it's always good to kind of assess at the end of the day, you know, how the vanilla of this will look. So hero characters, guys. So starting now we're gonna get the opportunity to utilize any hero characters, and you can do a lot of things. I personally would recommend the Eternals because they just have such amazing chemistry with each other. But again, we're probably going to be able to rip through a lot of this, guys, because of the fact that, you know, we have so many powerful characters, and heralds are allowed. So, you know, you can bring in characters like Rogue, you can bring in characters like Red Hulk. So, I mean, this is absolutely going to be beautiful just to see. I'm going to bring Shang-Chi and Kestrel because I just think they're going to be all-rounders here. I don't think these nodes are going to be difficult. And the nice thing is that we just get such a beautiful mixture of characters. In the higher difficulties, I'm probably going to switch this up a little bit just to see what we're up against. But again, starting things off here, a key character that we should probably be aiming for is the damage dealers, right? But Yo-Yo, because she naturally has the offense down, you definitely want to be wary of that. But this is why I want to bring Icarus, because he can just completely shatter everybody. And then as well, having the passive attacks with Kestrel, we got cleansing with Shang-Chi, and as well as damage. So I mean, absolutely huge, guys. Maybe I should have just saved the ultimate, but you know what? We're just ripping through this as a gameplay footage anyway. So the fact that they gave us an arsenal of heroes, like, you can do a lot of things with this. Nodes 3, Nodes 4. I really doubt folks are aren't gonna have an issue with these ones whatsoever, just because of the wide variety of characters we can use. And then I've been following the videos that have been tested as well by Dorky Dad. The biggest constraint definitely is by far the Mutants nodes, where specifically we won't have access, unfortunately, to you know, using characters like Jubilee, Omega Red. Like, they're going to be the forefront of the Mutant teams, right? By not having them being available, that's really where the pain point is going to be, guys. So starting things off here, I definitely can see that this mixture of the Marauders with some shield characters, it's definitely be problematic. We'll likely have to focus on Madeline Pryor. And again, because of our power level difference, this is not an issue whatsoever. This Omega Red and Deathpool is also going to be an issue later too in the higher difficulties. And don't worry, guys, I'm just, like I said, I'm just trying to show you a full run through of these nodes, even despite the power level difference. But for sure, I will be definitely making videos where I'm going higher difficulties, so that way there's some more strategy involved. But this is more so just for you guys to see what the nodes entail, which characters we're up against, and kind of like what I'm trying to focus here too, right? This one, especially with the higher difficulty, Gambit's going to be a pain point because of his passive attacks, so we want to focus on him. Afterwards, I mean, it's pretty smooth at this point. So thankfully, not too much going on here as well. And again, because we have that beautiful wide variety of hero characters that we have access to, you can likely do this in a couple of wave teams, right? You can even do the full, you know, Heroes as Guardians. You can do the full Bionic Avengers. So we just have a lot of options here. And that's going to be an option for sure, because especially since Bionic Avengers and as well as Wakandans being needed for later on in nodes 5, nodes 10, those are great nodes to start charging up energy as well. So finally, boom, just like that, we're at nodes 5. So, I mean, difficulty 6, we're just ripping through this right now. So just because, like I said, I think the difficulty of anything has been lower for this, but usually I do a difficulty 5 run, but because of this one actually needing minions for difficulty 6, right? So, I mean, I've already seen some of the strategy behind this, but my go-to team is going to be Bionic Avengers. But I know that this game plan likely won't work in the higher difficulties. We'll likely need a sacrificial team to go in first, such as the Wakandans, and then cleaning up. So, but Bionic Avengers for myself is probably going to be the main team. So let's start things off here. And this is the one where, yeah, we're going to likely just need to go through and see some strategy here. So starting things off, like you said, the bleed's going to be huge. We're going to have energy granting from all of our allies here. And again, not a great representation of the way that this is done right now, because of the fact that these guys are a lot weaker than us. But I mean, if you're gonna be waiting for Mighty Thor's ultimate like she just did right there, I'd be timing and saving Viv Vision's ultimate, just so that way you can get flipped, and then as well making sure you clean up and get rid of Mighty Thor for the second wave here. And then otherwise, because we're dealing with some lower difficulty nodes here, I'm just going to go ahead and save my abilities for the last node, because I think the last node is probably going to be one of the hardest nodes after the non-legendary mutants. So when you're down to this Black Order mixture with shield characters, you know, I would try not to use too many abilities, just because we need to make sure that our guys have their abilities ready to go. So I think the basic attacks will probably be good enough here. The minions have some buffs again from the Scourges, not an issue whatsoever. Ebony Maw has some good defensive capabilities and support, but like I said, they're just not going to have the damage output for us. I'll switch over to auto basic, and then, yeah, like I said, just go ahead and finish off some of the key enemies here, and we can probably leave the minions till the very end. A little annoying, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're super squishy, so not an issue whatsoever. I think, like I said, I don't know if they're going to have as much success as what we just saw there, because it's probably going to take a little bit of RNG involved for nodes 5. We'll likely need to involve both Wakandans and Bionic Avengers as we push higher. But yeah, so as long as, like I said, making sure that you have a cleanse like what we did with Viv Vision, that's going to be a really good turning point for sure. Finally, guys, so non-legendary mutants. So my go-to team is actually going to be the Unlimited X-Men, actually in combination with Emma Frost. So let's go ahead and find them here. So for me, my logic was this, right? Either a cleanser or as well as someone that can benefit the entire team like Beast. I mean, I think they're all going to have really good synergies, but I'm probably going to use a lot of them for just soaking up damage individually as we go higher in the difficulties, and then clean up with my Unlimited plus Emma, because they're just so powerful as a team already. And even without, you know, with the loss of Rogue, it does suck, but we have a very powerful mixture of characters here, and that's exactly what we want to take advantage of. I think the pain point in these nodes, especially for this first one, is going to be T'Challa. So we want to take him out probably as soon as possible. We're also up against these minions, and again, I think they're scarier than they seem because of the fact that you know, they have all those Scourge bonuses. But again, focus on the real enemies first. Even like an ability such as Sunfire's ability here, I would probably even wait until just saving it for the final node, because we're going to need a lot of burst damage, and especially we're up against a powerful rogue in node 10, and we'll see later how we do against that in a lower difficulty. But right now, I'm going to see if I can save those abilities, because we know that that's coming, and we can leave characters like Luke Cage and the minions alone, because they're pretty useless in terms of damage, and they probably can't do too much of a mark on us, right? So I am saving all Sunfire's abilities. I just don't want to waste his cooldowns and everything just take forever. So it's just something that you want to consider when you're doing this. And again, now that we get to this next wave, this is a good opportunity to just slow them down a bit. We're up against, you know, yeah, like I'm almost tempted to want to use Gambit's ultimate too. But again, I think what's going to be key for this node is trying to get through saving a lot of abilities. Phantom X really is not a big deal, so that's why I'm going ahead and using his abilities. But you probably want to aim for a character like Lieutenant, because he's going to be providing some buffs, and he even has the revive too, right? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use Gambit Special because it doesn't even cost any energy just to do some AoE burst. Thankfully, we have all his passive attacks doing work too. But again, I'm hesitant to use any of the abilities from Sunfire because we're going to need all that burst. And Phantom X can at least use his abilities. We'll save some of Dazzler's abilities too. But the other one to watch out for then is Taskmaster, because you know right away he's going to use his ultimate and it's going to blind us. So we don't really have a cleanse on our team that's reliable. I mean, Dazzler, but the energy, we want to save that for nodes 10, right? So that's the thing. So if Taskmaster does get his abilities off, I would recommend just soaking it up, because ideally we should be able to get some evasions from Gambit and the defense and the cleansing from Emma. So it should be good enough. Honestly, it should be good enough that we should be able to make do and hold our own for this node, and then that way we can unleash our full force on the next node here. Sorry, I keep saying nodes 10, but I meant like the next node after, because like it's gonna be the harder node out of the two, and that's why we want to save as much ability. So at this point, yeah, basic attack, save as much as you can. And also keep in mind, we have the other mutants, right? It's not just these guys against the world. We're gonna have the Astonishing X-Men, we're like Beast in them. They're not gonna be as effective as the Unlimited X-Men with Emma Frost. And as well, what's been noted now is that X Factor is effective, but again, we know how much burst is going to come in the next node. And so that's kind of the point I'm trying to illustrate here. And that's why I'm trying to, you know, like, it's easy right now because the Scourge is low, and as well the difficulty is only 6. But I'll show you guys the logic of why I did what I did in the last node. It's important to save all these abilities because this node is going to hit us hard and it's going to hit us fast. And sorry guys, I kind of was mixing up nodes 10 with nodes 9. That's not what I meant when I meant Rogue. I meant like the Bionic, Avengers, and Wakandans. So okay, so this one is difficult in the sense that we're up against the synergy of the Secret Avengers. So that's why we do want to take down Captain Sam. He is gonna be with Maria Hill and Sharon Carter if we're not careful here, and that's exactly why we want to, you know, abilities like this, right? So we have this beautiful combination now. I'm gonna go ahead, activate Gambit's ultimate, because it's already ready to go and bursted. We burst down Captain Sam, and then we're gonna save some of Dazzler's abilities, but we still want to target key enemies that can assist, such as Okoye and Nakia. They're gonna be doing work to us if we're not careful. And again, I'm gonna save all of Sunfire's abilities, right? Because it's finally gonna matter in this next wave that comes out at us. We're just gonna burst all of them down, and they got key characters like Shuri to heal, right? And there should be let's go ahead and attack them. There should be, I thought this next wave would be bigger, but let's go ahead and see if we can actually just get away with taking down Shuri. Because if we can, that would be a huge win right here. That's going to be the game plan in terms of us trying to get to the finish line. So if Shuri drops and then no other enemies actually follow, then this might actually not be as bad as I thought it was, because we can pretty much just kind of stagger the attacks, build up energy over time. We leave these minions for the end because, you know, we know that they have the revive, so it's just extra attacks for us to build up our energy, right? So maybe I didn't need to be as conservative as I was with my building up of energy, which is good, because in the higher difficulties, then I could have been able to use Sunfire's abilities in the earlier node. And now finally, 6 out of 13 is when we finally get the rest of the group here, and that's why we need to take down Captain Sam right away, because if he was left with the synergy here, that would have been the pain point for sure. So I would go ahead, I would save the special for Maria Hill, ensuring that she does not have the cleanse and the heal. And then finally, what's going to be exciting about this is we're going to be able to take advantage of Sunfire's abilities, and we're going to burst every one of these guys down, which at that point would just leave us with minions, and that is just smooth sailing, guys. So honestly, not too bad. I thought it was going to be much worse. Wow, these guys actually soaked up the damage quite well. So that was a full burst damage, with my characters being a lot stronger than them too. So keep that in mind. So there we go. Pretty quick though, guys. Like it's actually a smoother Scourge run, despite the fact that I'm using, you know, these characters at a difficulty 6. So I mean, some of these nodes are actually not as long as I thought it would be. So as long as you're planning correctly. But yeah, like I said, guys, I think, yeah, I've had to go back. Maybe I should have just used Sunfire's abilities in node 6, and then I think I had more than enough time to actually build it up. So now we're on to the legendary nodes, and this was speculated to be the easiest group. But then, you know what, to be honest, I think there's some really there can be some painful aspects to it. But I think if you have the full Horseman team with Omega Red and Shuri, you're gonna get by no problem whatsoever. So this is a no-brainer. I think this section is going to be probably the most friendly because a lot of players have access to a lot of the legendary horsemen. And again, we already used Rogue previously as one of the heroes, but I mean, she just does so much, right? Anytime we're up against a team with Gambit, we always want to take him down. But this is going to be an interesting one because we're actually up against now that Undying team with both you know, Hela and the Undead Iron Man. So I'm going to go ahead. I am actually going to focus Gambit first. Just anything, the logic of him having the passive attacks is really what's off for me, and really wanting to focus on that. So I'm going to go ahead, activate the special there, so that way Colossus doesn't use any more abilities, given how tanky and high his resistance are. But for sure, after that follows, guys, Voodoo is definitely someone we want to target with his sustain after Gambit. And as well, we know we got to make sure that we clean up and finish up that Undying mixture with Hela and Undead Iron Man too, just because we don't want him to be an issue later on. So I'm going to focus Gambit. Once he's done, it's going to be Hela and it's going to be Zombie Iron Man. So we'll go ahead and do that there. Finish off Hela. Easy peasy. And then obviously finish off Greg. So at that point, we're going to get another wave now. Mixture of these young Avengers with Dazzler. And I think, I don't recall if there was a Phoenix in this. No, but something that we have to be mindful of because there's that magic Colossus combination there. So I always forget. But here, let's take a look and see. If it does comes up, it is what it is. But, you know, we finally get a chance to use Rogue Special there. We want to take advantage. And then now, again, we finally get another mixture of Zombie Iron Man with the cleanse from Squirrel Girl. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to activate the ultimate there. It's a character that you always want to be mindful of. And yes, there is a Phoenix. So that's exactly what I was saying before. I had a feeling that she was in here with that combination of magic and Colossus. So something we got to be mindful of, guys. But again, not an issue because these guys are so much weaker than us, and we know exactly how to crowd control. So for sure, I definitely see where the pain point is going to be and for us to be aware of. But it's difficult to say because we have such a powerful array now of legendary characters, and it's kind of similar to the hero nodes that we did, right? It's just they're so good that it's hard to see them beaten. And even if they go down, like we have other legendary characters to follow afterwards too that can be a B team that can sacrifice, right? So I mean, we're getting an abundance of characters to utilize, and I think that's part of the value why they added some of these like meta characters in, right? We still have Adam Warlock, we still have Phoenix, Jubilee, Doc Ock, Magneto. Like there's a lot of guys on board here, so nothing to worry about. So again, I'm going to bring in the same team because I like the value that they're bringing in, and I like their synergies and just the number of abilities that they have that can completely detrimize the team here. So okay, starting things off, we can activate the special. The characters I don't like are Deadpool as well as Doctor Strange Heartless. I think they can do a lot of damage, but we also need to be mindful of that Phi Lavelle that can cleanse, right? So the nice thing about bringing in Red Hulk is that if he has a special ready to go, he can likely take away Adam Warlock's revive and just saves us a little bit of a turn, right? But yeah, and unfortunately at that point, it's probably not going to go well. Like you can see here, they just stripped away some of our buffs. So I mean, that's the only thing. Maybe being more mindful of my buffs and my energy levels when I'm coming into this next node, because this is definitely the harder one with the enemies that we're up against here. So especially Wong being protecting, you know, and Deadpool having the passive attacks. We just need to be careful. Then got the taunt off finally. Okay, perfect. And now what we want to do is we want to take down some of these Infinity Watch guys, but I think a good one to also focus is Deadpool because we just don't want her getting those extra attacks on us and charges, right? So I am going to focus on her actually. So again, we have the chance to rewind time with Morgan Le Fay. I'm going to take away Adam Warlock's revive, and that's exactly what we should do because you can just see how easy it will become afterwards. And then finally doing so, we finally spawn some more characters of the next wave, and that includes here you know, 1MM Black Panther, as well as Nakia. So definitely characters we need to be mindful of, especially in higher difficulties, but nothing to worry about. We got charged up from the last node with Red Hulk's abilities. Now he can fully, you know, absolutely just cause his DPS to go through the roof. We're not worrying about abilities anymore, because at this point, we are focused on the end game here in terms of finishing up this this node, and we're not using these characters ever again, right? So I would save maybe the ultimate for Shang-Chi. With them having a cleanse and stuff in the second wave, it's going to be dangerous. But then afterwards, make sure we focus on Spider Weaver, just because she's going to be the one that has the abilities to actually cause us to miss. So that's exactly why I went for her and disabled that. That was the logic there, guys. And then afterwards should be super duper straightforward. So again, we don't see a lot of stress coming from these nodes, because heroes and the legendaries, we just get such a beautiful mixture of characters, right? So I think this is going to go really, really well, guys. So that is really smooth. And again, we're almost done now in this full run through. And this is the logic I'm going to do now, guys. So this is exactly what I meant for previously before. Nodes 10. So we're up against the Rogue. And I forget if she's actually in the beginning or the end. But what I'm actually going to do first is I'm going to switch gears here. I'm not going to bring in Bionic Avengers. I kind of want them to basically use Rogue's abilities on this B team that I have, and to be honest, I haven't fully invested in them, because that's what they're really going to be, right? They're just going to be a B team. So I'm going to throw them in there to take down as many enemies as I can. I'm not even sure if this group's going to be good enough, just because their total team power is like only 580. But again, it might be good enough just because of the Scourge, right? But key enemies will include Gambit, Ghost, Spider, and as well as Spider-Punk, just getting them out of the way and making sure that we can kind of set up the stage. But at the end of the day, once we take down as many enemies as we can, you know, the real the target is going to be Rogue using her abilities on us. If we can get her to use her special on us, it's going to, you know, really set up the situation here for our fellow Bionic Avengers to come in and clean up, and it's just going to set up for a very good time. So I'm going to now finally, the taunt's off. I'm going to start focusing on Gambit. I think he's going to be dangerous with Rogue. That's why. So that should be the focus, guys. I don't think this team is going to be able to get the job done here, but I think we can at least take down some key enemies in the meantime. And if they can do it, then great. But yeah, I'm not hopeful, because you can just see some of the burst they do. And keep in mind, like, my guys are higher than them in terms of team level, right? They're just not as built up as my Bionic. So I think this is for sure going to be the one that will likely be the bottleneck for in combination with those non-legendary mutants. Like, yeah, look, that was a full blast of Black Panther. His abilities there. We are up against just a very good mixture of characters here that are in the meta. Young Avengers, and then as well as some of the Web Warriors. But yeah, you can see my objective here at the end of the day was just to see if we can take down Gambit and get the Rogue. I'm not even sure if we can get there at this point, to be honest. Like, just look at how much damage they're doing to us, and keep in mind, guys, you know, this is like a fully built up Shuri and stuff too. So it's not like these characters were weak by any means. But yeah, at least now we were able to waste Gambit's abilities. But my fear now is that we are going to be up against Rogue, and it's not going to be pretty when she lands her special on our fellow Bionic Avengers. So there you go. Yeah, these guys have the potency to actually even take down my team right there. So now 13 out of 14 enemies left. This is going to be interesting, guys. So I'm going to bring in my Bionic Avengers. They're going to have to face the wrath of Rogue, which is not what I was hoping for, but I mean, it is what it is, right? You're trying this for the first time, and this is going to be a pain point for sure. Yeah, so let's finish this up, guys. I'm going to switch gears now. My Bionic Avengers ready to go. Let's see how these guys do, and let's see who else is on the deck, right? Nakia and M'Baku. So yeah, this one for sure, I can definitely see some improvements for the strategy here. I think Notes 10 is going to be very interesting to see. Maybe I should have brought in my Bionic Avengers first and then cleaned up with Wakandans. But yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll just start the course here. We really want to be in a good place by the time that Rogue spawns here in the following wave. So save the ability blocks, because we're going to be needing that. Even better is if we can actually ability block her before she uses her special. Boom. That's exactly what we want to do. Perfect. So we might be okay, guys. I'm going to activate the ultimate here. Again, we want to save some of these key abilities from Notes 5, because things like that barrier, things like the ability block, it's absolutely huge. It's going to be a meaningful difference. But you can see how much of a difference these guys make, because they're just so much more built than my other team. And now another pain point, right? The cleanse there from Squirrel Girl might save the Rogue, and that's exactly why I'm glad this team has a lot of ability blocks, so we were able to fully take advantage and once again block Rogue. We really want to do that because if she can get her special off, she can just do so much damage and pretty much cripple whoever that Bionic Avenger would be, right? So I think that's going to be the aspect we got to be mindful of, is taking down that Rogue as soon as possible, aiming for everything on her, and then worrying about the aftermath of these other characters that are kind of like white noise for us. I know that Sunfire is probably just getting charged up right now with his abilities, but I don't care. I'm just focusing on Rogue. And then finally, once that's down, guys, take down damage dealers, because like I said, it's not going to be a big deal to leave characters like Squirrel Girl and Kate Bishop alive. You know, like they're just, you know, slowing us down, but they don't do that much damage. And honestly speaking, they just flip our buffs and stuff, right? So there you guys have it. That is the unlock right there of Archangel, and as well as difficulty 6 Scourge, with only the 3 minion ones being activated. I'm going to go ahead and claim that for you guys so you can see on screen here for the unlock here of Archangel. But yeah, there you guys have it. Hopefully this is able to give you guys some insight in terms of the characters, enemies to face, but for sure I know I'm gonna have to definitely do a run through of the higher difficulties. But yeah, like I said earlier, if you're able to hit at least, I think generally the unlock comes at about 500k points, so let's see if that's still consistent here. 500k, yeah. So that's the recruitment right there. Boom, we're good to go. And then if I recall too, last time, usually to hit all the milestones, you need about 1 million points. So let's see if that's still consistent. And it is, yeah. So yeah, we're more than halfway done, guys. So for sure, I'm definitely gonna raise that level. You can see Dorky Dad's already crushing it, even though it just went live. Good for him, man. So that's awesome. So yeah, there you guys have it. Let me know what you think in the comments below, but super huge update here. Can't wait to go higher and see what our limits are for this amazing legendary horseman character. So let me know what you think in the comments below, guys. Hope this helps you in your progression. I'll try to timestamp everything in terms of the notes, although some of them were super duper quick. So hope this helps. Thank you as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.